welcome to Black Cat Divination. This channel is dedicated to learning divination tools. Right now, I'm focusing on the Lenormand fortune telling cards. I've been looking into tarot and oracle and stumbled upon this method of divination, and I'm really liking it, so I'd like to share it with you. One way that I find that I learn better is when I teach what I learn or I share what I learn. So that's why I started doing these videos, because when I talk about what I'm learning, it settles into my head and I feel more comfortable with the material. So it's helping me, and I hope that it's helping you, and I hope that you enjoy my presentation style. If you have any suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. Let's go ahead and get started. Today we are going to cover the Clover card combinations. I have a brand new deck that came in the mail today. It's the Under the Roses Lenormand. I haven't gone through the entire thing yet. I've done a couple scrap videos, so I have seen part of the deck, but we're discovering this together. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll compare the Clover to all 35 other cards. The last card that we will cover is the Rider, which is the first card in the deck. So this is the second card in the deck. Before we start with combinations, I'd like to go over what the actual keywords for the Clover is so that we are comfortable with what the Clover represents when it shows up in a reading. As mentioned before, for right now, I'm getting information from CafeLenormand.com, which is a really, really nice beginner's site covering meanings and combinations and a bunch of other things. So if you're interested in more resources for your own learning of the Lenormand, go ahead and check out CafeLenormand.com. I highly recommend it. It's been very useful to me. The Clover, all by itself, the very first thing that I think of when I see it, because it's a clover, it's a four-leaf clover, is luck. So it's short-term luck. Luck that comes in short-term. It could represent gambling. It could also represent hope, taking a chance, which goes hand in hand with gambling. Could represent something unexpected. Optimism, happy, represents open-minded if you're describing a person. Could represent excitement, or it could represent a chance meeting. Those are all the keywords for the Clover card. Pretty straightforward. That's one thing that's really nice about Lenormand, is the pictures are just, they are what they are, right? So, which is nice, because when you get them all spread out in a 36 card layout, it can be a little overwhelming. So the fact that the cards are simple makes that really nice. All right, let's talk about the combinations of the Clover. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I am going to make this a two-part video, and the reason why I'm doing that is because my camera, I think, doesn't have enough memory available to it to make long videos. So we'll make part one and part two. I'll go through about half the deck, and then I'll upload and I'll finish the video in a part two. Here we go. All right, the very first pairing we're talking about, the Clover plus the Ship. The Clover plus the Ship is an opportunity to travel. It could be luck abroad, luck overseas. It is a positive getaway. Opportunity to travel, luck overseas, positive getaway. The Clover combined with the House. This could be just represent a happy family. It could represent good fortune at home. Very straightforward. Happy family, good fortune at home. The Clover combined with the Tree. The Tree is a card of health. So this could be health improvements. This could also represent spending time in nature. These are two things you find in nature, often together. So this could just be spending time out in nature. That's one thing I really like about this working for me, because the literal meanings of these cards makes them easy to read. So I really enjoy that. Spending time in nature. The Clover combined with the Clouds. This is deceived. This means deceived. It could also mean fleeting luck. Now it's interesting, this pairing isn't that far from the actual meaning of the Clover, because the Clover is short-term luck, right? So fleeting luck is not very different from short-term luck. So I don't think the Clouds are necessarily taking away from the Clover in that sense, because the Clover is already short-term luck. So this is fleeting luck. Deception as well, so that's not a very positive combination. All right, so we got the snake now. Now in this deck, the snake also has the woman, which I really appreciate, because in other decks when I'm looking at the snake, I don't automatically think of another woman. So I like that this option is on this card. It reminds me, if you're reading for a female querent, the snake can represent another important woman in her life, not necessarily bad either. So the clover plus the snake, this means too good to be true. So if you got an offer coming in and it seems really great, and this pairing comes up, yeah, it's great because it's too good to be true. This is an opportunity that can't be trusted. And if you're describing this woman, this could be an opportunistic woman, which my immediate go-to feeling about that is opportunistic woman is a negative thing, but it's not. An opportunistic woman could just be a woman who recognizes when her opportunities are positive and she takes advantage of them. That's a smart woman. That's not a bad woman. So too good to be true. Opportunistic woman. Opportunity that can't be trusted. Okay, so the next combination is the clover plus the grave. In this deck, it's the grave. In other decks, it's the coffin, but they obviously mean the same thing. It's an end. So this literally means luck ends. This could mean risk too. So if you're a gambler and the grave card comes up, means that you're taking a risk, but if the risk pays off, it could be a huge gain. You all know that, right? With risk can come big gains. And this can also represent a losing streak in reference to gambling. If you combine the clover with the bouquet, this is a nice pairing in a reading. This is only good things. The clover with the bouquet is happiness, it's positive outcomes, and it represents great joy. Happiness, positive outcomes, great joy. That's one that I want to see in my own reading. Happiness, positive outcomes, great joy. The clover combined with the sickle. The sickle is also the scythe. The clover combined with this card represents taking a risk. And then because the sickle can represent swiftness or speed, this is sudden luck coming in. Sudden luck or risk. Taking a risk. If the clover shows up with the whip. Now in this deck, the whip also has the woman with the whip. In other decks, it's just been the whip. So I actually like that the woman's there as well, because I don't often think of the whip as sexuality, but with this deck I will, because she's obviously sexy. And she doesn't look like she wants to harm anybody. This pairing could represent a one-night stand. It could also represent competition. And then it could also represent a good argument. The whip is discord or arguments, fighting, but with the clover, it's a good argument, which could possibly mean in a reading if someone is, in a situation where feelings are being held back. If the clover and the whip come up, this could represent, airing out the dirty laundry. Let's get this conversation had. Let's go ahead and argue and clear the air. So positive coming from negative, right? A good argument, clearing the air. The clover paired with the owls. Now it's the owls in this deck. In other decks, it's the birds, but they both mean verbal communication. That's one of the key words, verbal communication. So the clover with the owls could be a lucky conversation. It could be opportunity calling like a telephone call, because it's verbal communication. So opportunity calling, and then it could also represent a happy partnership. If the clover shows up with the child, it could literally mean a lucky child. It could also represent a promising new start. The child card represents new beginnings. So the clover in combination represents a positive new start, promising new start, or this could also be an unexpected beginning, because the clover can represent something unexpected. So an unexpected beginning. I like this, the child card in this deck. I like the addition of the bird, or excuse me, the butterflies and the nets. Really positive looking card. Also in this deck, there are multiple people cards. So there's another child card. There's a fair skin and a dark skin child, which I really like as well. I think in readings you want to take out those extra cards though, just so that there's no confusion. Okay, so the next pairing is the clover with the fox. Now, if you get the clover with the fox, this is luck isn't what it seems. So you might think, oh, look at it, I feel so lucky, but be careful if the fox shows up next to it because it's not what it seems. Don't get your hopes up. It's not what it seems. Luck is not what it seems. If the clover card is paired with the bear, this is a very positive combination. If the clover card is paired with the bear, unexpected money coming in. The bear represents possessions. This deck Under the Roses has the bear holding the fish. That reminds us it could be the bear represents possessions. It also represents a boss or finances. So unexpected money or profit with the clover and the bear together. If the clover is combined with the stars, look at the stars in this deck, it's so pretty. I really, really like the stars card in this deck. This is a very positive pairing. If you get the clover with this, well, positive, I guess it depends on your perspective. This could be unexpected fame. So not everybody wants to be famous. So unexpected fame. And this could also be success. Clover with the stars represents success, unexpected fame, or success. The clover paired with the stork. The clover paired with the stork is positive change. The stork typically can represent not only new beginnings, maybe a birth, but it also represents change, sudden change. So, and the clover is a positive card, so positive change. It could also represent improvement of a situation. Okay, this is where I'm going to cut off the video because we're almost halfway through the deck. So I am going to chop this off so I don't get chopped off without wanting to get chopped off. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching.